Hi, I'm Kelly Vaughn, and welcome to Inside Indy. In this segment of Inside Indy, we're all about empowering veterans and our young people. And you're probably wondering, what do those two really have in common? Well, they are the beneficiaries of a very special event that's coming up here in Indianapolis. And we have two people in the studio today to tell us all about it. And they are Leon Fletcher, and you are president of LA Business Ventures.
Yes, ma'am.
Welcome to the show.
Thank you very much.
And then we have Lorraine Ellams, and you are director of Mentee Services for Project Esteem.
Yes.
Welcome to the show.
Thank you.
Okay, let's start off by talking about this huge event that's coming up in February, and then we'll talk about those who are going to benefit from it. And it is called
Carnival Masquerade Affair.
All right.
It will take place February 10th, 2018, starting at 6:30. The location will be Hilton, downtown Indianapolis, 120 West Market Street.
Oh, nice. Very nice. Okay. Now tell us what's going to happen that particular evening, what people can expect.
People can expect good music by Toy Factory,
Yeah,
very well-known band around Indianapolis. There will be a silent auction featuring items from your own Indiana Pacers, as well as the Indianapolis Colts, and some other items as well. I don't want to tell you all about it.
Yeah, because we want to leave something.
Yeah, some mysterious, really mysterious about it, yeah.
Okay, very good. So now, why are we doing this? And we know we want to have fun and have a party, and we're raising money for these two particular organizations, which is Helping Hands for Freedom?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, tell us about them.
Helping Hand for Freedom is a 501c3 organization founded in 2008. One of the co-founders, Patrick Shannon, is a beneficiary of 2 Purple Hearts as well as a Bronze Star for his wounds and the heroism in Iraq. And the other co-founder is Rodney Smith, which is a former college and NFL standout that is very experienced in nonprofit organizations. And one of their primary focuses is helping Gold Star family members out. And what that is family members that have lost loved ones, fallen soldiers, as well as assisting veterans with PTSD financially.
Wow. Okay. So, and so part of the proceeds from this event will go to benefit that cause.
Yes, ma'am.
Very good. Okay. And tending to our vets is just so critical. I mean, and I just hate that so much of that population is forgotten or not tended to. So I just commend you for picking them as your beneficiary.
Thank you.
Project Esteem.
Yeah.
Okay. So tell us about that, Lorraine.
So Project Esteem was established, we started it in 2015, and it's been established with some friends of mine. We've been friends for about 20 years, and so we got together inspired by the need in our community that we saw with the youth that were at risk, that suffered from self-esteem issues. So our goal and our aim is to work with those youth to help them just kind of unlock their self-worth and make sure that they understand their values, and so that they can be successful going into their adulthood. So we really try to press upon them the importance of self-esteem, thinking highly of yourself, believing in yourself, and just letting them know that we believe in them as well.
Okay. And I really want to focus in because you're in charge of the Mentee Services.
Correct.
So you're directly involved with the young people or those who work with them.
Correct.
So what are some of the things that you see that they need? Because one of the words you used in the very beginning, you said what our kids need. So what are you seeing their needs as being?
The biggest thing is support, right? A lot of the youth that we deal with, they have so much in them, so much potential, so much intelligence, all those things that are in them, but they need someone to, for one, help them point out some of the great qualities that they have, a lot of really great leadership skills. And so in our program, and part of my job is to make sure, one, that we set the tone when we do go into these enrichment opportunities and when we're mentoring, letting them know, like, we do have ground rules, but our key is to make sure that we're supporting you and that we are truly pointing out some of those really positive things that are going to make them great adults, productive citizens, and just go on to be great individuals.
Okay. What are some of the challenges that you see these young people facing when you start working with them?
Yeah, so I think one of the big challenges is, so a couple of the organizations that we work with, they have high turnover rates. So that means they could come into the program and then they be placed into another program. So a lot of times we don't get enough time to actually work with them. And unfortunately, sometimes they go back to their environment, maybe where it's not so supportive, where there may be a broken home and they're just in and out of the system. So I think that the biggest challenge is that constant support that they need, to let them know, like, you know, you have to stay focused and stay on track with what you're doing. And so when you don't have that consistency, I think that that's the biggest challenge with what we try to do with our youth. And some of it is out of our control, but we absolutely let them know that we are consistent with being there for them, with our partners that we do work with, and letting them know that, you know, as long as they want to be there, we're going to be there, and we're going to continue to support them.
So I guess this begs the question, and you can chime in on this too, Leon, if you have any feelings about it. Is it really a youth problem, or is it a parent problem?
Ooh. Be honest with you, I think it's a both. It's the children and the parents. It stems from the parents because, you know, when I was growing up, I'm 39 years old. When I grew up, it took a village. You know, walking home, my father found out before I even got there because the neighbor and, you know,
Somebody
neighbor,
told him.
it was, everybody told him. And everybody would chastise you on the way home. If they saw you doing something wrong, they'd say, hey, stop that, I'm gonna tell your father. And just off that, hey, okay, I'm done. The kids don't have that fear no more. And parents are not empowering them to do what they need to do. Parents are not like parents like they used to be, and that's not across the board. But you got younger and younger parents that, and I'm glad Project Esteem is a part of this, because if you hear what they're talking about educating and empowering kids and teaching them, not necessarily right from wrong, because that's being taught early on, but it's teaching them how to stand alone, regardless of what the crowd is doing, how to stand alone. Yes, they have to go back maybe to a broken home. Yes, they may have to go back to that situation or that environment, but teaching them how to stand alone in the midst of a storm, how to just stand at peace and do what they need to do. So hopefully they can break that cycle.
Okay, you mentioned the word village, and I think part of the problem with the village concept is you have so many parents now who have this attitude of, you can't tell my child what to do, whether it's the teacher,
Absolutely.
whether it is the neighbor as you're heading home. Nobody wants anybody to mess with their kids. No? Would you agree?
I agree. And that's part of it. And then also, you know, we're in a different age now. We're in a different climate in our world when it comes to social media, the things that kids are exposed to. And when you have parents that are not so hands-on, you know, we're dealing with that as well. That's part of our curriculum, is to also point out that, you know, what you do on social media, what you do in front of the camera, and all these things that are playing out in front of the whole world that can't be erased, that's on the internet, you know, these things you can't take back. So, you know, this is part of what you have to understand in your upbringing. We didn't have that growing up. So we also try to tailor some of our curriculum to make sure that we are addressing some of those new age problems. And kids don't understand, you know, what you do now, it's not where you could do it. And maybe somebody didn't find out, you know, because maybe somebody, you know, wasn't there. You know, this can affect, you know, your future employment. This can affect, you know, your kids down the line if they saw something that you did. All these things really matter, and so those things are important as well.
Consequences.
Absolutely.
They're not really paying attention to the consequences, things that can come back and bite them later. So, and I have some more questions about Project Esteem, but I want to go and touch on the event again, because people may be coming in, just tuning in right now, to remind them about this phenomenal fundraiser you have coming up. So if we could go over the details for the big event for people again.
The time will be February 10th, 2018.
Okay.
Starting at 6:30. Location again will be at the Hilton downtown Indianapolis, 120 West Market Street. Entertainment will be provided by Toy Factory. There'll be a silent auction. We'll be featuring items from Indiana Pacers as well as the Indianapolis Colts.
Okay, and we'll have on the screen how people can get tickets, or do you have a phone number, or how do they tap into that to purchase tickets?
Or they can go to buytickets.at/LA Business Ventures LLC.
Okay, okay.
They go to their website and buy tickets.
Okay, sounds good. So now, what is LA Ventures? Let's talk about that.
LA Ventures is a business I started. Basically, primary focus is to invest, acquire, and manage different real estate properties around the country.
Okay.
While affording opportunities for people to buy as well as sell affordable and quality housing.
Okay, okay, sounds good. And real estate is hot. I understand the market's going up, so
Yes, ma'am.
that's a good thing. That's a very good thing. So, wanted to get back to Helping Hands for Freedom and then Project Esteem. And on the Project Esteem, I wanted to ask Lorraine, tell us a success story from starting with a child who maybe you were mentoring and how they changed.
Sure. So one of the things that we noticed, so we have, like I said, it's a high turnover rate. So our metrics are very important. The surveys that we put out after each session, the feedback that we get from our partners that are there, the staff that are there, is extremely important. So one of the things may not seem huge, but it is from the standpoint of we know that they're listening. So we had a student that was in with one of our partners, the Kurd Center of Indianapolis, and we did a lesson. It was around table etiquette, and so part of the lesson was to talk about good habits and bad habits, having good manners at the table. And so we talked about it, had the lesson that happened, and then probably a month and a half later, we were talking about something else. It was a different lesson. Same child was in the class, and so part of one of our points we were talking about was just being rude or saying something inappropriate. And she said, well, that is bad table etiquette, bad manners. So that let me know, now not just that small point that she brought up, it let me know that they are listening. And sometimes, that they come in and they're just upset. And one of the things that we notice in most all of our sessions is that a lot of kids that are not really wanting to participate at the end of the class, we have them engaged and they actually are participating, and that's huge because you just never know what is stuck, with a kid until it comes up again. And even though the turnover rate is high, a couple months later, a child that we did have, for her to come back and reiterate something that we talked about, just let us know that she's listening and that we're doing something good.
Okay, okay. Well, we appreciate you coming in and letting us know about the big event, and also just commend you for raising funds for two very important causes in our city. So we appreciate that.
Thank you.
Appreciate you coming
Thank you
in.
very much.
So Leon Fletcher and then Lorraine Ellams, thanks so much for joining us here on Inside Indy.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And we'll be back with more here on Inside Indy after this. Inside Indy is on the road today, and we're at the Indianapolis Public Library in downtown Indianapolis. And what we're doing here is we're meeting the artist. Yes, we're speaking to an artist who will be a part of the big event on February 10th, the annual Meet the Artists festivities here in downtown Indianapolis at the library. And joining me now is Michael Jordan, better known as Alchemy.
Yes, ma'am.
All right, welcome to Inside Indy.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you.
So your work will be on display on this grand opening night and during the entire exhibit, right?
Yes,
Through the
ma'am. Yes.
month of February,
Yes.
and I think it
Yes.
even goes into
March.
Mm-hmm. So tell us about your work and what people can expect to see when they come to meet the artists.
Well, I think I started off as a realistic artist. I like to paint realism, then surrealism. Now I consider myself an abstract artist because even my realistic pieces have underlying message to it. And my art deals with communication. I have a lot of poetry in my artwork, messages about things. For instance, I've done the series on the alphabets. I've done all the alphabets in black and white. Now I'm doing them in color. I've written 3 books about this subject. One day I discovered and realized through further in-depth study that the alphabet's the book of life, hidden in the sands of the desert, which is right here in the head,
Interesting. Okay.
devoid of knowledge and wisdom today. So is considered the desert.
Okay. Now your work is phenomenal. It's just outstanding. So, how did you start in terms of developing your art form? And did you know that you were as good as you are?
I didn't know. I had brothers. My whole family drew. I had brothers that drew, and I couldn't. I had an uncle that sat on his lap and colored in a coloring book when I was 4 years old, and he colored in and made everything with shadow and realistic. And I said, I want to do that. And I could not do it, so I left the color alone. I drew and drew and drew. Still couldn't draw like my brothers did. And then I saw this program on TV when I was a kid called John Nagy, Learn to Draw. And he showed me how to use a piece of folded up piece of writing paper with the lines on it and measured the whole face. And he said the face measures the body and so forth. And there I began to draw, and I always drew with a ruler. I learned to use a ruler and use the inch to trace everything. And then I drew my brothers. My brothers quit drawing, and I stayed at it.
Wow.
So, yes.
So now it's become and I would say become, because obviously you've been doing for many years, but it's your profession.
Art is my wife.
That is your wife?
That's
Okay.
my wife. I'm married to my art. I was unfortunate as a young man. I was kind of knuckleheaded, did a lot of things, ran with the wrong crowd, found myself at 18 years old carrying 2 pistols. My father was a heroin addict, and I decided I wanted to rob dope men, and I hated them. And I wound up switching up one night and robbed Church's Chicken on 22nd Street. It sent me to the penitentiary. Now, 2 weeks after I was locked up, a friend of mine got shot and killed trying to rob a dope man in locked up. So I realized, okay, this is where I'm supposed to be right now. I mean, hey, I could be like him. I goes to prison and I meet an oil painter for the first time in my life. He taught me to oil paint. I learned it, kept doing it. I'm painting to this day. He left prison and never painted since. So there are no accidents. I say it all the time.
Yeah. So maybe you were in it. You
Well,
don't like to think that was.
Well, I told my mother. My mother came to see me. She said, aren't you sorry you came here? I said, no, ma'am. I said, I'm not sorry. I'm sorry about what I did, but this is the best thing that happened to me. Here I became a man.
All right.
And
And,
I
a
learned
phenomenal and a phenomenal artist. And again, we want to let people see your work here, just kind of as a
Yes.
tease for the big event. Meet the Artist, which is here at the Indianapolis Public Library in downtown Indianapolis, February 10th.
Yes, ma'am.
And you said, what, 5 to
5 to 10.
10 p.m. So a lot's going to be going on that day. Come down and meet Michael Jordan Alchemy and many other artists. And the man behind it all, it's Tony Radford. You are the founder and the curator
Yes, ma'am.
of this exhibit, but the founder of the Meet the Artist.
Right.
Welcome to the show.
Thank you, Kelly. Thank you.
Now, tell us about the space that we're sitting in right now.
This space is the old West Reading Room, and what Jackie Needus came to us a couple of years ago to our committee, the African American History Committee, and talked to us about maybe turning this into a cultural center. And our committee would back it, and Michelle would be our director. Opening day, what can I say? We had over 4,000 people here. And it's a space that's needed. You know, it's got our culture, our history, and I mean, that particular day, everybody on the committee, the director, everybody, I just seen this glow, you know, and it's something that I've been wanting for a long time to happen. And Jackie, 2 years ago, answered that dream for us.
And with February being Black History Month, the timing is perfect in terms of the exhibit being open and, of course, the big gala that's coming up. So tell us about the Meet the Artists event you have coming up.
Well, the big gala is where we have a big opening. All the artists will be here. We have a gospel group. We are going to bring back a magician, Walter King, an illusionist who's been very popular. We've got a band, Ground Zero, that will perform. We have 6 local authors. We have poet Tasha Jones, now from here, nationally known. We also have Terry Baptiste, who's going to head up our fashion show. And our fashion show is 23 years old this year.
Oh, that's a big deal.
And it's the finale of the night. I mean, the place is packed. And we chose Terry because he's a natural hair designer, and he deals with fashion, and he's going to put together a great fashion show for us.
Very nice, very nice. So when people come that evening, and it starts, what
It
time?
starts 5:30 to 10.
Okay. So they'll be able to view different exhibits as well?
They'll be able to view exhibits in our St. Clair Street Gallery. We have cases in our Simon Room area, and then in the atrium on 3 floors, 3, 4, 5. So basically throughout the building, you'll be able to view artwork from the 10 artists that we've selected this year.
Okay, sounds very good, very good. And I heard you have a very special, big-time Hollywood celebrity coming. Did I hear that?
Yes, yes. We wanted to bring somebody in from Indianapolis who's out there, and we looked at 3 folks that we thought would be great for this event, and that was Vivica Fox, who answered that call, and somebody that we thought that that came through the library system, used the library system, and we had Mike Epps on that list as well, and Babyface.
Nice.
But Vivica answered that call for us. So
Okay, so we out them right here on the show. Huh? Next time, Mike, answer the phone.
answer the phone.
I love it. So this is what you're.
This is the 30th anniversary. Started in '88, and actually it started with me being impressed with another artist's work, who was a master artist in the city, Joe Holliday. He's passed on now, but his work was on display, and I saw it, and I was like, wow, this is the best artwork I'd seen. In the '80s, I was going around to exhibits and openings. Didn't see a lot of people that looked like me or was representing us. So I called Barbara Alexander, who was in charge of hanging that work, to see if I could exhibit my work. And she said, sure. Well, about a week later, I knew I didn't have enough work to do all the cases. So I came back to her and said, well, Barbara, let's do a group show and acknowledge our artists and have a reception and food and a band and, get some TV and radio coverage and put them out there. She said, okay, I'm going to take it to our committee meeting. They invited me to the committee meeting, and here we are 30 years later.
Wow. Did you think back then it would be like this?
In my wildest dreams, I didn't think that it would be like this. I didn't think I'd be involved in something for 30 years and involved in something that's been successful for everybody. I mean, as far as the artists, the library, our committee, and myself. It's just, for me, it's led to a lot of other venues outside of the library, forming arts groups, traveling, and I just never would imagine that I would be doing something this successful for 30 years.
So last question, I want to close with this question, is the artists who are on display are primarily African American, but everybody shows up for this, right?
Everybody shows up. And I suspect this year, we're going to put it out a little bit more. We're bringing Vivica in, so it's going to be packed. So it's family oriented, something for everybody. We have a youth section. We've got all kind of activities for youth, young, and in mid-teenage areas. So it's just going to be a great event to come out to. It's free and open to the public. The only thing, money you'll have to spend, we ask you to, if you're hungry, Backyard Barbecue will cater the food for us. And we have 6 talented authors that will be selling their books. Other than that, it's free and open to the public, and everybody should come out and enjoy themselves.
Okay, and support the artists that evening, but also the exhibit stays open.
The exhibit will be open for 2 months. It opens January the 30th and runs through April the 4th.
Special events like Meet the Artists here at the Downtown Library would not be possible without these very special sponsors, including the Library Foundation, the Crystal DeHaan Family Foundation, Dr. Michael Twyman Endowment Fund, and, of course, the Indianapolis Public Library in downtown Indianapolis. I'm Kelly Vaughn. This has been Inside Indy. We'll see you next time. Bye-bye.